can call me Belinda or maybe Lucinda. No, I don't mind at all. You found me online and baby, I blew your mind. And so you wanted some more. You want the BDSM or the innocent girl. I got it going on. Pura vida es my style, and so come for a while. We're gonna have some fun.
And I will wait all day to watch Belinda play. She keeps it up all night and always does it right. She's my little chica from Costa Rica.
The things I do, they're so underground.
Her favorite drink is a margarita.
I'm gonna love you when the sun goes down.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, when you asked about how indie artists are reaching a global audience but still keeping their creative vision, it got me thinking.
Yeah.
We've got all these articles on the tools they're using, success stories, and even, get this, a clip of Prince talking about artistic control way back when. I think this is going to be pretty eye-opening.
It really is fascinating how Prince's ideas, even from decades ago, line up with what indie artists are doing now.
Right.
It's like he was a blueprint.
Okay, so in the old days, it was the record labels and publishers who held all the power, right?
Exactly.
Artists would sign those contracts and end up giving up a lot of control.
Yeah, it was a trade-off. Visibility for ownership. But the indie approach is totally flipping that.
Right.
Now artists are saying, we can build our own audience, put our own music out there, and keep our creative vision.
And the tools that make this possible are insane, like Fiverr and Upwork, where artists can hire freelancers for things like mixing, mastering, cover art, even music videos.
It's amazing.
You don't need a massive budget to get professional help anymore.
Speaking of budgets, production itself doesn't have to be expensive either. There's BandLab. It's this free online studio where you can record, mix, master your tracks.
Wow.
And it's got real-time collaboration features, so artists can actually work together from anywhere in the world.
So wait, you're telling me
Yeah.
you could be recording a song with someone, like across the globe, all from your bedroom?
Pretty much.
That's wild. Okay, what about if you need to isolate like vocals or instruments from a track?
Oh, yeah.
Say you want to remix something or make a karaoke version?
There's this AI tool, Spleeter. It separates the song into its individual stems. You know, the vocals, the drums, bass, all that.
Hold on, you lost me there. What exactly are stems?
Okay, imagine a cake.
Okay.
The stems are like the individual ingredients. The flour, sugar, eggs, you get it.
Okay.
They all come together to make the cake, but you can take them apart, you know, experiment, create something new.
Got it.
Exactly.
So artists can use this Spleeter thing to take a song apart, rearrange the pieces, add new stuff, isolate parts. That's really cool. And then there's Canva for the visuals, right? It's not just for like social media posts anymore.
No, not at all. Artists are using it for album covers, promotional graphics, even lyric videos, all with a professional look.
It's amazing how accessible these tools have made things for everyone.
It really is.
So we've talked about creating and producing the music, but what about getting it out there? That was always the record label's domain, right?
Absolutely. But now you've got platforms like DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby. They let artists put their music on Spotify, Apple Music, all the big ones.
Got it.
And the artists keep ownership.
Right.
Then there's Bandcamp, which is kind of like a digital record store where fans can buy music straight from the artist.
So it's about removing the middleman and building that direct connection with fans.
Exactly. And that direct connection gets even stronger with platforms like SoundCloud, where artists share their music, build a community. And then you've got Patreon and Ko-Fi, where fans can support their favorite artists directly.
It feels like the relationship between artist and fan has become much more personal and collaborative.
Definitely.
Yes.
Writers aren't left out of this either. Self-publishing has exploded because of platforms like Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing.
That's right. Authors can put out ebooks and paperbacks, set their own prices, keep a bigger chunk of the royalties compared to traditional publishing.
Makes sense.
And then there are platforms like Smashwords and Draft2Digital, which help distribute ebooks to even more online retailers.
And if you want that physical book, there's Ingram Spark, print on demand, global distribution, no more huge upfront costs or storage issues for authors.
It's incredible how accessible it's all become.
Right. And we haven't even touched on marketing yet.
I know. There are some fantastic tools for email marketing. like MailChimp and ConvertKit and social media management platforms like Hootsuite and Buffer. Artists can schedule posts, manage multiple accounts, all from one place.
It's a whole system designed to empower creators, really.
It really is. And it's not just about the tools, but the change in mindset they represent. Artists are realizing they don't need permission to create and share their work.
So this all sounds amazing, but I bet you're thinking, does this actually lead to success?
Probably.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because we've got some incredible stories of artists who've used this approach to build their careers and reach huge audiences.
And I think what's even more inspiring is they've done it while staying true to their vision. It proves you don't have to compromise your artistic integrity to be successful.
Exactly. Let's start with Tame Impala, the creation of Kevin Parker. He's basically a one-man band, writing, recording, producing everything himself. And you can hear that control in the music. There's this distinct psychedelic sound that runs through all of Tame Impala's albums.
It's true.
It's like he's built his own sonic universe, and it's resonated with millions of fans worldwide. Then you have Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell, a brother-sister duo who started making music in their bedroom and ended up winning tons of Grammys. Think about it, teenagers creating music on their own terms and then completely taking the music world by storm. It shows how powerful authenticity is and how you can connect with a global audience even without following the traditional path.
Absolutely.
And talking about breaking away from the traditional path, Frank Ocean is a perfect example of an artist who took control of his narrative. He left his major label to release his album Blonde independently. And it was a huge success, both critically and commercially.
And what's interesting about Blonde is that it's deeply personal. It explores themes of identity, love, nostalgia, not the kind of music that would typically get a lot of radio play or marketing, but it resonated with people because it felt so real and raw.
Yeah, it's like he was saying, this is me and I'm going to do it my way.
Exactly. And then you have Chance the Rapper.
Oh, yeah.
He built a huge following on SoundCloud and social media, all without signing to a label.
Chance is a great example of how you can use these online platforms
Right.
to connect directly with fans and build a career on your own terms.
Absolutely.
His mixtape coloring book was a real game changer.
It was.
The first streaming-only album to win a Grammy. And it proved you don't need the traditional gatekeepers
Right.
to get mainstream recognition.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah.
That power shift
Yeah,
from these big institutions to the artists themselves.
totally. And it brings us to Prince,
Yes.
who in a lot of ways was a visionary. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Even back in the 80s and 90s.
Mhm.
He was fighting for artistic control and ownership.
And we actually have a clip of him talking about this. I think you'll find his perspective really relevant to what we've been talking about.
Let's hear it.
Here's Prince talking about his experience with record companies.
Now, the reason why it became such a big deal back then is ever since my third album, I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it and I did all the work. I created it. So I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise, and they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I said, well, I understand that it's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer. It's not like we're against them or anything like that. The idea is that we find better ways of working with one another. It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual copyright. If they're going to be indeed a delivery service, then that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship, right? Because ultimately keeps us apart and keeps the people in power in charge of us. So ultimately, we're going to have to learn how to be together and become one people. What I've been doing recently is studying the scriptures as deep as I can, so that that's what gives me the optimism. And I would advise anybody, if you want to feel like there's some hope in this joint, man, pick up the book and read it and get somebody to actually show you what's going on in it, because it's a real thing. You don't hear a lot of young people talking about things like I talk about, because they really haven't lived, they haven't gone through a lot of experiences yet, and we can't really expect them to. It's just, and distribution service. I mean, what do we really need record companies for? Real.
You can really hear that passion.
Yeah.
He believed in owning his art and not letting these companies control his vision.
And his analogy about FedEx is perfect.
It is.
They deliver the package, but they don't own what's inside.
Right.
It really highlights that power imbalance that existed in the traditional music industry.
It's like he predicted the rise of these online platforms.
Totally.
They're essentially acting as delivery services,
Exactly.
allowing artists to get their work directly to fans
Yeah.
without giving up ownership.
And Prince's success, while maintaining that control,
Yes.
shows it's possible to have both artistic integrity
Yeah.
and mainstream recognition.
He didn't compromise, and he became a global icon.
That's so inspiring.
It really is.
It shows that the indie approach isn't just some dream.
Right.
It's a real path to building a sustainable career.
Absolutely. And you might be thinking, well, this is all well and good,
Yeah.
but I'm not a musician or writer.
Right.
What's in it for me?
How does this apply to me?
Well, the truth is, there are broader lessons here
Yeah.
that apply to anyone,
I think so too.
regardless of what they do.
It's about taking ownership of your work, your ideas, your vision.
Right.
It's about being the indie artist of your own life.
I like that.
You know, it's about having the courage to make your own way.
Yes.
And not being afraid to break free from traditional models or expectations.
And in a world that's so saturated with content,
Right.
this independent spirit is so important.
It really is.
It's about standing out from the crowd by being you.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
We've talked about the tools, the strategies, the inspiring stories. But in the end, what truly makes an artist stand out?
That is the question, isn't it? What do you think? Yeah, it's about finding that spark and letting it out, you know? Even if it means doing things differently or pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And I think that's what Prince's story really shows us. That you can have huge success without compromising who you are as an artist.
Totally.
He was a real pioneer, paving the way for this whole indie movement.
And what's so cool is that he did it his way.
Exactly.
Didn't follow anyone else's rules. He built his own thing, his own sound, his own legacy.
It's a reminder that we all have that power to create something amazing.
Yeah.
Something that's truly ours and connects with people on a deeper level.
And the tools are there now more than ever.
It's true.
It's a pretty exciting time to be creative, you know?
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I hope you got something out of these stories.
Me too.
And from learning about all the incredible tools that are available now.
I hope you feel inspired to create
Right.
and to share your work with the world.
Remember that indie spirit isn't just for musicians or writers.
Anyone can have it.
It's a way of thinking that can help anyone create their own path and make a real impact.
Yeah, so go out there and create something amazing.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to let your voice be heard.
Until next time, keep diving deep